While I was in Iran preparing the necessary visas for Central Asia, I had time to kill while having to wait for an invitation letter for Uzbekistan. I decided to ride about 1400 kilometers down south to the Iranian coast on the Persian Gulf, since I'd heard about a small island off the coast there. And on this island in the Strait of Hormuz, there was a Portuguese fort built there 500 years ago, during the golden age of Portuguese exploration. Being originally from Portugal, I had to go check it out. But to get there on a motorcycle would prove to be a bit more complicated and stressful than I had originally anticipated. I leave Tehran, the hectic and bustling capital of Iran, and begin my ride south, taking a short detour through the beautiful Iranian cities of Isfahan and Shiraz. The latter being a city in a region where once the finest wine in the world was produced. But there was one place I was most keen on visiting: Persepolis, the capital of the Achaemenid Empire, or better known as the Persian Empire. You know, the ones the Greeks were fighting all the time back in the day.
Here I am, disguised as a tourist in Persepolis.
It really was a magnificent sight to behold, even in the pressing heat. Though unfortunately there wasn't too much upright anymore, since Alexander the Great had burned the city down while coming through on his little conquest spree of the known world. If it wasn't hot enough already, it got even hotter with every passing kilometer through the mountainous desert while getting closer and closer to the port city of Bandar Abbas. Once I got there, it was so hot that I couldn't even find comfort in the shade. The next morning, I make my way to the harbor. To my surprise, only small passenger boats would ferry to Hormuz, but the plan was to go exploring and spend the night on the island, so Alp had to come too. I talked to the guys who managed the boat, and they beckoned me to bring the motorcycle over.
We can take this off. We can take this off.
At first, one of the guys was hesitant, but the other guy was pretty game, pointing at how we could remove the panniers. We haggled a price for the crossing, and then it was time to squeeze the big girl through the door, which took a bit of a coordinated effort. Some people inside looked a bit puzzled, but once the confusion had settled down, their faces turned friendly. Though when I went to pay up, the man had increased the price, but I wasn't having it and stuck to what we had previously negotiated. Just the usual cheeky business in a haggle economy. We finally set sail, and once we were out of the calm harbor, the boat began to bounce around on the choppy open waters. That's when I realized that I might have made a big mistake. I had to hold on to the motorcycle to stop it from tipping over. I noticed how the bike was blocking both of the side exits. I also realized how outside they had put the panniers in front of the rear exit door, so in case of a calamity, almost nobody would be able to get out. And suddenly the worst possible B-movies began playing in my head. So I held on tight to the motorbike. Meanwhile, out the window, I could see Hormuz Island getting closer and closer, and once safely in the calm waters of the harbor, my numb arms could let go of the motorcycle. We had made it without the boat capsizing or going up in flames, therefore ending the B-movie sessions for the day. Again, with some help, we get Alp off the boat and onto the island.
So I got my bike today, put it inside on a passenger boat, which wasn't the best of ideas once you're on open waters, but I held on to it. People were surprised, annoyed, fascinated at the same time, and all went well, but I wish I could take a regular boat back.
And now I could go check out the Portuguese fortress, which was built in the early 1500s, named Fort of Our Lady of the Conception. Truly something revolutionary back in the day for a tiny nation that had sailed from Europe around Africa, effectively cutting out the Ottoman Empire as the middleman of East Asian trade. We also went for a ride around the island, which was as hot as the Australian desert. Also, the only other place I'd ever seen with similar red sand and white landscapes. The island pretty much being a mix of South and Western Australia. To my surprise, in the late afternoon, I received an email that my Uzbek invitation letter was ready, 2 days earlier than expected, so I decided to leave the same day back to Tehran so I could sort out my Uzbekistan visa sooner than later. I found a bigger passenger ferry for the return to Bandar Abbas, where the bike could easily fit on the rear deck. So no stressing out this time, just burning up to the max after spending most of the day in the sun.
Leaving port of Hormuz, back to Bandas. It was a hot day, it was ridiculous hot. I drank already over 6 liters and the day ain't over yet. Got the bike strapped on, beautiful view. Looking better than the first time. Less dangerous during calamities. There she is. Water view. Couldn't be happier.
It was a lot of fun hanging around with the crew, getting the bike on and off the boat again.
That's it, Hormuz, Bandar Abbas.
And once both wheels were back on the mainland, we left Bandar Abbas that same evening in order to get a head start. And the next day, I would ride the longest stint to date, over 1,200 kilometers in one day.